Hi everyone, welcome to today's video. Today we'll be looking at the template design pattern where I've looked at some other design patterns previously, but today we'll be looking at the template method design pattern. The template method design pattern is actually a behavioral design pattern, and it is usually used when we have a pattern. For example, an algorithm we want to follow. There is a sequence of steps that have to be followed to achieve the goal. So let's have an example in the real world and see what it actually entails. So first off, let's say that you want to eat and that you are hungry. So I am hungry and I want to eat at this time. So what are the steps we need to take? We need to first have the groceries. We need to get those first. After which we can now say we want to cook, and after we cook, at that point we say we want to eat. So that is the sequence of steps we must take in order to get to the point where we eat. So it's either I will need to get the groceries, I will need to cook, and then I will need it. So let's say for example I go old school, I go grocery shopping. Then for that it means I will need to go shopping, get my groceries, I will need to cook, and then I can talk of eating. But what's of someone who orders for food? He doesn't need to go shopping, he doesn't need to cook, he just eats. And then finally, for someone that goes and orders groceries, he will not need to go to the shop to get groceries because that's been done. He just goes ahead to cook and eat. But you see, for all of these three algorithms or these three steps had to have gone at one point or the other. For the person who ordered the food, although he was not the one that shopped or cooked, someone else had done that actually for him to get to the point where he just eats. And you see, for the other food, all he just needs to implement is the fact that he eats. For the other grocery, also, someone had actually gone to do the grocery shopping for that person, and he just needs to focus on cooking and eating. Let's look at another example. Let's say we want to build a house. And when we want to build a house, what are the basic fundamental steps that needs to to be set in place to achieve a house? So just for simplicity's sake, let's say we have three steps. Let's say we have at the beginning the foundation. We need a foundation. Without a foundation, nothing starts for a building. So after the foundation, we have the block work. So we start putting blocks together, and then finally we have the roofing. Just for simplicity's sake, let's say these are the three steps we take when you want to build your house. So irrespective of the kind of house, whether it's a flat, whether it's a duplex, whether it's a multi-story building, all of them basically have to have followed these steps. They need to have had a foundation, they needed to have had block works, and then at a point roofing. So there is no such thing as a house that did not follow this particular pattern. If tomorrow we want to have a skyscraper, it will still need to have started from the foundation, raised up with block works, and then on top of that we have our roof. So you see, we have, like, so to say, a template for what and how a building is built. Let's look at how it looks in code. Yeah, so this is just a simple console application here where we have a template, a house template. Now, if we look at what is there, it's actually that we have. Let's focus first off on the fact that we have a foundation, we have a block work, we have the roofing, and we have the finishing. And the steps is that if you now look at how you build the house here, you see that you first have to have the foundation before the block work, before the roof, and then we have our finishing. That is the sequence of how it must flow for us to have our building. So it means that if we want to build, if anybody wants to build a house and he uses this template, there is no way he will have a foundation before the block work, before the roofing, and then finally the finishing. Is so, for example, let's say we have the flat. Here we see the flat implementing the house template. Now you see that we have the implementation for the block work and for the foundation. But we see that we don't have the access to that build house. And that is because when we go back to our house template, we see that it doesn't it's not abstract, it's not virtual, meaning that that cannot be overridden, that the implementation only exists in the base. And meaning that if any of them, for example the flat, wants to build the house, it will need its own it will call the implementation of foundation, the block work, the roofing, and the finishing in that sequence. So there is no way to change that. So a building cannot come tomorrow and so far it is implementing the house template and not follow that sequence. So when we look at the duplex, also the duplex has the block work and the foundation. And when we look at this multi-story building, the same thing. It has its own unique implementation. So each of them have their own unique implementation, but all of them still follow the same sequence of having a foundation upon which they have the block work, upon which we have the roofing, and then we can have the finishing. But for example, if you look at the flat, we see that for the flat, the finishing is just empty. That is because we are saying that we do not want the in the home template there is a base implementation for that. Is a virtual method, the finishing, meaning that it will have its own a base implementation and then it can be overridden also. So we see that the house is painted green is the default implementation for at the base. For the roofing, is saying that the building has a default roofing made from aluminium. That is the default roofing algorithm. Just permit me to use that word for now. So when we now want to have a house, for example the skyscraper, and so let me just create a skyscraper and let's just see how this is very. So we have our skyscraper and then we have our skyscraper. So with our skyscraper, all we just need to okay, with our skyscraper we have our house template, and then with this let me just implement the abstract method. So the building type, let's just call it skyscraper. For our block work, let's just give it a simple implementation saying that the block work for skyscraper. And then for the foundation, let's just set that to the foundation is so deep, as deep as the deepest. So let's just say this is our implementation for a skyscraper. You see, with this, we cannot alter the flow. This will, even if it's a skyscraper, it will first of all have the foundation. So when we want to build a house, so let's go to our program.cs. You see that for a flat, all of them have the build house implementation because all of them actually inherit from the base implementation. Now, you see that the build house, for each of them, whether it was the flat, we see that the flat did not have access to that build house itself. It could not override the build house implementation, which means that for us that the way so if we go to the it's still going to follow the foundation, the block work, the roofing, and the finishing. So let's say we wanted to have our new, let's say, skyscraper. Let's say new skyscraper, and let's just, so we have our skyscraper and we just build the house. We see that even for the skyscraper, we did not have to put the implementation of the build house. The base implementation has the template for which any building we follow. And so this makes it make sure that we do not have someone coming to follow another pattern. We have set the pattern, a template as it were, for all houses that will be built. I know, so if we run this, just see running. So we see here that we have a flat. The flat is said is its own implementation for the flat. It starts with the foundation, the block work, and the building. We don't have a finishing because you remember for flat we did not implement. We said the finishing should be empty. For a duplex, we have the foundation, we have the block work, we have the roofing, and then we have our finishing. For the story building, the same pattern follows: foundation, block work, roofing, and finishing. And lastly, for our skyscraper, we have the same: the foundation, the block work, the building, roofing, and then the finishing. So this is the template design method design pattern, which is a very important design pattern. It's actually very simple to understand. I do hope this has helped us. If we have any questions, we'll drop them in the comment section, and I'll be there to answer them. Thank you for watching. Do like, share, and subscribe, and see you in the next video.